Welcome to the Go Guys Podcast, we haven't considered anyway. I'm Colby.
And I'm Bling Bang Bang Born, baby. You can call me Fee.
I mean, is it bad that now every time I watch a new anime, I am like, well, this isn't Creepy Nuts. Like, this isn't that good. I bet Creepy Nuts could do it better.
If Creepy Nuts could do every anime intro, like, anime would be 10 times better.
I agree. So, like, I have been watching Sakamoto Days. I know you have also been watching it. I watched the first episode last night, and as it started, I was like, this intro is fucking bullshit. This intro is nothing.
This is stupid. It's not Creepy Nuts, and ooh.
It's not a bop. I'm not gonna listen to this later.
Yeah, I'm not gonna put this on my Spotify playlist. Ugh. Yeah, no, Creepy Nuts, like, I've gone beyond just putting OPs on my Spotify playlist. I put some of their just regular music on too. Oh, because they're actually good. They're good. They're a good band, I guess.
Mm-hmm. There's two of them. That's a band.
They're a hip hop duo.
Yeah, that's a band.
I guess.
Sometimes a band is a guy that yells and a guy that does this.
I wouldn't say a band, because in band you have to play an instrument, and doing this doesn't constitute.
I don't know. Playing the wikis, that's an instrument, man. He's playing. He's doing it. Like, he's doing the work.
But most time a band, like, both people have to play an instrument, not just one.
What do you call singing? That's an instrument.
Oh, if singing is an instrument, I'm a master of singing.
Yeah,
I'm a master vocalist.
Yeah, listen. So is he. He's a rapist. He's good at his job. You know.
Yeah, he. I was reading up on him. Mm-hmm. Don't know his name. I couldn't remember it for my life.
Oh God, I think Takeshi. Oh God, I forgot.
Something like that. Big creepy of
Big
Creepy
creep.
Nuts. Big creep. He's
Arshite, that's his name.
Yeah, and it's DJ Nuts. He's creepy.
It's DJ Matsunaga. He's creepy. They're nuts.
It's great. He won the. I don't know if it was worldwide or just Japan, but he won the rap contest or something.
Yes.
And then he joined up with DJ Man, with DJ Nuts, and he became Creepy Nuts. And like, they've just been, like, slowly getting, like, they fucking started off hard, but they slowly get better.
Oh yeah.
And instantly you just recognize them when you watch anime, right?
Mm-hmm.
You watch anime, you're like, oh fuck, that's my boy Creepy Nuts. They have, like, such a distinct sound, right?
Yeah, and they've only done 3 openings. Although I will say the first one is really interesting, because the first one, it's an anime inspired by one of their songs. So, like,
really?
they're so anime that they made anime.
That they get anime. What was the other show? Because we obviously know Mashal, and we know
Dandadan. And the third one is, hold please, what's it called? Song of the Night, I believe.
Yeah, I've never. Whoa, maybe I heard of it. I don't know. It's all good.
Sorry, Call of the Night. That's the
okay.
Yeah,
I've heard of Call of the Night. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Fuck. I have to look on my Spotify, but there's another anime people that do really good anime openings, and I think they're called fucking chicken balls or something.
There's no way it's chicken balls, right?
I'm looking it up. Hold on.
Oh God.
It's chicken something.
It's gonna be something a lot less weird than chicken balls. The thing is, like, if you told me, if you're like, yeah, I don't know, there's some, like, duo that's going around and they do, like, the best anime intros. They're called, like, Creepy Nuts or something. I'd be like, that's not the name. That can't be the name. Their name can't be Creepy Nuts. Chicken balls, I'm almost positive, is not right though.
Fuck. Okay, hold on. They did the opening for Spy Family season 2. Something of chicken, I think.
Thank God.
Hold on. OP.
Bump of chicken.
Bump of chicken. I was close.
No, you were not.
What did I say?
You said chicken balls.
No, I didn't.
Who would say that? Stupid.
This is not me. Whoever came up with that's dumb, and it's obviously not me.
Mm-hmm.
Bump of Chickens also does really good anime openings. They did the Spy Family 2 opening, and they did another one for an anime that I kind of watched. I only watched it because I heard the opening from that show, and it's all right. I just never finished it. Just 2 seasons, but it's a good song.
All right, fair enough.
I think I was talking to my sister the other day that like intros for shows like kind of hook you into the show.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll hear like a theme or an intro, and you're like, "Oh, I want to see what this is about," because the intro was so good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if the show doesn't have that good hook to get you from the intro, sometimes it just makes the show not as good, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think, because like when I was younger and I was watching cartoons, I'd be like, I gotta watch the intro, because the intro will let me know if I'm gonna like the show or not. If it hooks me just from like the I guess the preamble or whatever, the theme. And that's kind of that always rings true, right? That always rings true.
Yeah, I mean, we were spoiled for choice growing up, because that like you had, I mean, the intro to Cowboy Bebop, right? You had the intro to Gundam Wing. You had the intro to fucking Dragon Ball, the English ones. You had the intro to Sailor Moon, the English one. Like
I love that.
You had Pokemon had so much banger music that they had a fucking CD that came out. Like,
dude, yeah, that Pokemon theme song really molded a generation. Not only was it like super good, like Pokemon was so big, but they didn't like make their own theme song for like other stuff. They put it on everything. If you're going to see a commercial for Pokemon, there's the damn theme song.
They're like, it's here. You want
it's here.
Anything. It's you're like, fuck yeah.
I especially really like when they remix the OPs for the movies, the Pokemon movies. In Pokemon, the first movie, God, it's such a good intro. Like it's real, I guess cinematic, but it is a movie. But it's so very good, you know, having the battle with that one guy who just fucking comes up to him. I guess he's a pirate. He's wearing a bandana. I don't know.
Yeah, that's who knows a Pokemon. It could be anything.
I mean, look, you could walk up to anyone in the Pokemon universe. They got a Pokemon. They're ready to battle.
Yeah. They're like, I'm eating dinner right now. I will stop dinner to whoop your ass publicly.
Oh, you fucking think? Fucking send up.
Get out here, Gyarados. Eat this man's asshole.
You had all these fucking devastating moves. Like, no one dies from Pokemon.
No.
You would think people would be like getting cut. Like, Team Rocket commit crimes, but like usually to just have guns. Why not get like a bunch of Scythers and slice people in half?
This has been, I think this has been like a discussion topic since the beginning. Since Pokemon started, people are like, well, I mean, if Pikachu could just like, zap somebody, why don't the police carry a bunch of Pikachus and fucking tase people with them? Like,
because they have Growlithes that just burn people alive.
Yeah. Well, I got a Magmar, so I could just fucking put lava on someone's house who's my enemy for no reason.
And they let 10-year-olds carry these fucking weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah, they're like,
I know it's a joke. Like, people always joke about this, but like, you have to be 10 years old to start your Pokemon journey. You leave your house at 10, not knowing anything about the world, and you're expected to just go and camp out in the world.
Yeah.
And just make a living. You're like, all right, Mom, time for me to go on my journey.
I think my favorite thing about Pokemon, like, because I'm not a huge Pokemon fan, but one of my favorite things about it is its refusal to answer questions like that. Like, it doesn't give a fuck. You're like, well, it doesn't make a lot of sense that like there's not a bunch of people like carrying around Pokemons to commit crimes. And they're like, well, I mean, we've got Team Rocket that does like, yeah, something kind of like that. And they're like
petty crimes and money laundering.
Yeah, like, well, what about like the ethics of like battling animals that don't have like sentience? They're like, don't think about it. Well, what about like letting 10-year-olds go out and like control their own destiny and starve out in the woods? Yeah, don't think about it. Just don't think about it.
There is no animals with like non-sentience in the Pokemon universe.
Yeah,
in the Pokemon universe, they all have they all pass the Harkness test.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like, so like when people are like, well, what Pokemon do you eat? Do you eat Chansey eggs? And they're like, just don't think about it. They just refused it. They're like, I'm not stepping anywhere close to that. I don't give a fuck. I'm just gonna keep plowing forward. And people are like, you've got so much shit to answer for back here. And they're like, here's what I'll give you. Here's the only thing I will give you. Yeah, a Pokeball, it's made out of some natural shit, okay? Like, there's like these acorn things that drop and you could form them together and like a Pokeball can happen, okay? Like, that's it.
Okay.
People are like, okay, cool. We've got like all these other, and they're like, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
How does the system know that every trainer in the world can only carry 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can only carry 6, and if you carry more, it automatically gets transferred to a PC.
Yeah, and like, how do you digitize a Pokemon?
I was just about to say, like,
where's this box?
They're not digital. They're like actual like organic creatures, but they get digitized and set to a box.
Yeah,
or, I guess. I don't even know, because like in the show, like Ash's stuff gets sent to Professor Oak, but what about everyone else?
Yeah,
just to their house.
They just put it in the cloud. It just belongs to Facebook or whatever the fuck.
I got my Pokemon bank on the Meta app.
Yeah, I mean, like answering stuff like that is some creators get too in the weeds with shit like that. I'm looking at you, Jujutsu Kaisen, where they're like, yeah, I'm gonna explain everything, and you're like, I don't need that. No.
See, but Pokemon leaves it to imagination, which is fine.
Pokemon says, and I quote, does it fucking matter? And you're like, well, that kind of matters to me. No one gives a fuck about you.
They're always eating rice, and like fruit, and that's fine, but like, God, they need protein. They're not all vegans.
Well, you got beans. You got beans, probably. I don't know.
Yeah, he's right here.
You're a son of a bitch.
I know. He is too.
True.
Oh, fuck. What's it called? Like, the Miltank.
Yeah.
That's obvious.
Yeah.
That's where your milk comes. There, we've seen them drink their milk.
So
that's where the milk comes from. That's where hamburgers come from. Obviously.
Maybe.
They eating Krabbies if you want to get fancy.
Yeah, maybe it's Taurus, maybe it's Miltank, maybe that's okay. And there's also, they just keep discovering new species and shit, and that is realistic in one sense of the word, but the fact that like they didn't have a fucking Pokedex before like Pokemon Red, and they're like, well, here's the Pokedex of all the known Pokemon. There's 150 of them. The end. And then now they're like, there's 12,000 of them. We're sure this is it this time. We got them all this time.
There's 800 until 2 years later when there's more.
Yeah, no, this is the final version of this. Like, I don't know if you remember, but like back in the day, whenever you were like navigating to somewhere, you could buy a standalone GPS device, right? Like a Garmin, a TomTom, whatever the fuck. And like you could buy those for like $150, $200, $250, $300, like below 500 basically. And then they started to release cars that had built-in maps inside of them. And I remember the first time that my parents had one, and they were like, oh, well, we need to like update the map on this because it's like a couple of years old and like there's new roads and stuff. They took it to the dealership, and the dealership was like, yeah, we can update it like this year, just this year, and it'll be $1,000. Or you could pay us a $200 a year per subscription, and then we'll update it every year. And my parents are like, what the fuck is this? And it's like, you could just buy a new one of like a new standalone thing for $200. That's what I have a feeling the Pokedex is doing. They're like, no, this is it. If you want to update your Pokedex, you got to buy a whole new one. It'll be $12,000.
Professor Oak fucking selling Pokedexes like their iPhones.
Yeah.
You gotta get the new Pokedex. Fucking the iDex 12 XL.
Yeah. It's got AI detection of Pokemon in it. So you take a picture of a Pokemon and it'll know exactly what it is. And it's like, isn't that what it already does?
Yeah, but this one does it better.
It's got AI.
Well, okay, so technically, in the newer Pokemon, the Pokedexes are like infused with that one Rotom.
Yeah.
Right? So like you have a living Pokedex,
which is fucked up.
Yeah, because Rotom can also just become like living appliances, right?
Yeah. Also, how are you gonna name a Pokemon Scrotum? How are you gonna name a Pokemon Scrotum? That's not nice.
Dude, well, I mean, if you think about it, there's like humanoid Pokemon living out in the wild. Like, how creepy is it to like be out in the wild and you come up to like a fucking pack of Mr. Mimes or something?
Yeah.
Or Jinxes.
Fucking Hitmonchan. You're like, that's a guy.
Yeah.
That's just a guy.
Yeah, that's just a guy. That's just a dude. Hypnos, like they hypnotize you and they molest you in your sleep.
I've read it. I've seen it happen.
Dude, you wouldn't imagine all the stories I've seen on the internet, on Reddit specifically.
All true.
Of people's telling their encounters with fucking Hypno. R/ was I hypnotized?
That's okay. So that's like, that's one of the reasons why the Pokemon Company is just like, nope, I'm just not, I don't give a fuck. I'm not answering those questions, because like you end up getting in too deep. As soon as you answer one past question, then it's like, well, that opens the floodgates to all this other shit. If they're like, yeah, so like, yeah, let me just say, humans just don't eat Pokemon. They just don't eat them. You're like, okay, well then where does this come from? Where does that come from? How about this thing? Where do these things come from? And like,
yeah, but some Pokedex entries, like specifically, I forget there's one that was just like, oh, its meat is a delicacy.
Yes.
It's one of those I don't know which one it is, but I remember that one being it.
Yeah.
But then there's like some Pokedex entries that are like fucking wild. Like if some of these entries were real, like how are people still alive?
Yeah.
Because these things are just roaming around, fucking walking catastrophes.
Yeah. Yeah. And like the thing is, the more that you think about it, the more it doesn't make a lot of sense. And that's why having the Pokemon Company be like, shh, stupid idiot, shh, stop thinking about it. Just play the game and have fun. Just stop thinking about it. It's like, I get it. I get it. There's too many things to answer there. They're all contradictory. Nobody would be happy. And like, the thing is, I don't think the people working on the Pokemon anime talk to the people working on the Pokemon game, or like the one guy writing Pokedex entries. So now like, can you imagine in the anime, they're like, yeah, you know, they've never eaten Pokemon. And then somebody's like, well, actually, there's this one Pokedex entry. They're like, fucking Gary, why did you put that in there? And he's like, I just didn't fucking think. I don't know. And like, even better, it's not even the dude at the Pokemon Company. It's the translator that just made some shit up. And they're like, now it's canon. Fucking thanks, Gary.
It just doesn't make sense. Where do they get their protein? And then there's like the Pokemon like Yamask, who are human spirits trapped in objects that become Pokemon. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, it just like, if you die in the Pokemon world, you become a Pokemon. Let's see, Pokemon can steal your children. Drifloon especially.
Yeah.
It'll just grab unattended children like a fucking vulture swiping up a chihuahua. and it's just things like that. You're like, wow, did you see it in person? You documented it and didn't do anything. You just saw it happen.
There it goes.
How do you know, like, some of these Pokemon that like Yamask especially, how do you know that's just a human soul that got turned into a Pokemon and now has to live as a slave?
Yeah, one of them haunts me, and it's my grandma. I know it's my grandma.
And I caught her, and now she's part of my party.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking dope. I hated my grandma, so I always send her out first to get knocked out. I'm like, wow, Charizard, go get him, grandma.
I specifically sent her out to the wrong types. Fucking what? It's just stuff like that, but also like, do Pokemon live forever? Because like, Professor Oak had Ash's Pikachu for like ever until he gave it to Pikachu, or until he gave it to Ash.
I don't. It's again like none of the canon is like consistent. The telling a story is a self-contained thing. Every Pokemon game or like generation of games may as well be The Legend of Zelda. Because like, that's the other thing. Legend of Zelda fans love to be like, okay, so in the timeline, this game comes first, and then it's that game, and then it's this other game. And the biggest fuck up that Nintendo ever did is they tried to make a consistent timeline for Zelda. And then everybody's like, well, that doesn't make sense because of these reasons. Where the fuck does this game go? And
Nintendo's like, just don't think about it.
That's the thing. Fucking Eiji Aonuma was just like, somebody asked him like, well, is like, I think it was Hyrule Warriors, maybe the first Hyrule Warriors. They're like, oh, well, where on the timeline does Hyrule Warriors sit? And he's like, who cares? Stop asking. Or it was or is Breath of the Wild is one of the two. Like, well, there's evidence that like it's got this fountain from Twilight Princess, so it could be that, but it's also got the split mountains here from Zelda 1, and it could just be that all the timelines converge, and then Breath of the Wild is after that. And he's like, fucking stop thinking about it. Stop it.
And like, how about just play the game? Fuck wit.
Yeah, but play the game and enjoy the game. Stop meta-analyzing it, you dipshit.
Yeah, but then what would all the YouTubers have to talk about?
Yeah.
I guess that would be us, right? Because we're talking about it.
I mean, that's the thing. Every Zelda, there's, I think, probably 5 or 6 really heavy Zelda lore YouTubers that came up as a result of Breath of the Wild. And it was all shit like, well, this ancient Zonai ruin, like we don't know who the Zonai were, or like why they did this. And you could find like, it turns out that Salt has like this description on it that hints to this thing, and like they like got so deep in there, and a lot of the stuff had to come back to like, it could have been the Zonai could have done this. And then Tears of the Kingdom came out, and they were like, the Zonai was a bunch of goat guys, and they like lived up in the sky, and it was fine. And now they're like, oh, what the fuck to talk about now? Shit.
Oh, damn. Well, now what?
Yeah, no, did you, goat meat's a delicacy, so Zonais could have been cannibals, maybe?
It just, I don't know. Like, even Mario, like, he never ages, and he's been, like, fighting Bowser, like, forever. I don't know where I heard this. Could be wrong, but all the games, like, take all the like mainline games are like in the span of like a year or two. I feel like they set that somewhere. I don't
fucking believe that for a minute, because like the only Mario lore question that I've ever seen answered was somebody asked Miyamoto, is Super Mario Brothers 3 a stage play? And he said yes. That's it. That's the whole thing.
Okay, so well, Mario 1, that takes place, who the fuck cares, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're like in a different world. He beats Bowser. Mario 2, it's a dream, so it could just be literally the night after.
Yeah, could be. Who knows?
Mario 3 is a play, so like, I don't know, a month later, he decides he's gonna, I don't know, get them all together and make the play.
Mm-hmm.
But then Super Mario World, Bowser kidnaps Peach again. but they're also like in a new place. They're on like Dinosaur Island. They're not on Mushroom Kingdom. So what? Like that's a month later, and then we got Mario 64, which just could be any day after that.
Yeah, any day. Just one day.
Just one, and then Sunshine again.
They went on vacation the next week. They're like, man, this has been a crazy fucking 3 months.
Yeah, and then like in between that, they're like, well, I know fucking we hate Bowser, and he's been like stealing you. But how about we invite him to a party, right?
Yeah, fuck it.
How about we invite him to a go-kart race?
Yeah.
Just
fuck it. Why not?
Like, yeah, fuck it. Why not? It's just, I don't know, man. Like, Mario, he's ageless, and his adventures could be anything.
That's the thing, is like, there's something about gamers where, like, you want to connect all the dots together. And I guess it's not necessarily just gamers. Like, maybe there's more people like that where you're like, these are 2 or 3 things that are in the same sort of like series or the same genre. And you're like looking for some amount of consistency. You're like, this world is set up, like the rules are this in this place, but they're different in this other place. And like, are they really separate? They're made by the same author. They're made like with the same characters or whatever the fuck. Like, what the fuck is Beans doing?
He's gonna hack up something. Okay. Not on the bed, buddy. Not on...
Just come on.
I was like, do you hear it?
Yeah, he's...
You got water over there.
I'm fucking waiting on bated breath. Like, do you think that people do it, like, for, like, Goosebumps? Like, because there's been Goosebumps movies that are like, oh yeah, this like ties together Night of the Living Dummy and fucking, I don't know, this other one about the blob thing, right? Like, are they anthologies? Are they in the same world? Are they in like completely disconnected? And people want to like put things together where they're like, oh, there was a reference to this other thing in there.
I want to say they're anthologies, but I want to say because fucking what's his name, like Edgar Goosebump, I forget his name.
R.L. Stein.
R.L. Stein. He's trying to be like kid friendly Stephen King. So I think he has them take place all in like one area, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think they're all in the same place. I think there's some that are.
They're all in the same state.
I don't know that they are.
Except for one, which was really weird. So, like it was like the kid goes to summer camp, and then all through the camp, like everything's kind of weird, and they don't like name specific things. But then you find out that they're aliens, and they're going to Earth.
Okay,
that's like the only instance that I know of Goosebumps that didn't take place on Earth. That was a twist ending.
I fucking hate Google sometimes. I Googled, do Goosebumps all take place in the same universe? And like the AI result, fine. Like sometimes it's a hit or a miss. This time it's fine. It's like, while most individual Goosebumps books are considered standalone and don't directly connect to each other, the Goosebumps Horrorland series is the exception, as it features a shared universe where characters and monsters from different Goosebumps stories interact, right? The top result after that is an article titled, Goosebumps added an unnecessary twist to season 1's ending. And the big bolded thing is, in American Horror Story, the seasons all take place in the same fictional universe. Who gives a fuck about American Horror Story, asshole?
Yeah, but we all know they take place in the same universe in American Horror Story.
Yeah, so what does that have to do with Goosebumps, dickhead? I didn't ask.
They're both scary. I don't know. I like the appeal that if you get into a series and like there's more than one but with different characters, you like that they're in the same world, right?
Yeah.
Because like in video games, they usually have like the same like systems, like magic systems, currency systems, phrases and stuff, like Final Fantasy. Yeah. In every Final Fantasy, there's a Cid, there's Gil, there's Chocobos, there's Mogs, and everyone already knows that. Not like like everyone like us. I'm talking like everyone in universe knows like certain monsters. They know who Bahamut. They know who Bahamut is.
Yep.
They know who Odin is. They know who Chocobos and Mogs are. They know they have Gil. They all use Gil, and the currency never like goes up or anything.
Not all of them use Gil. Especially pre-PlayStation, a lot of it was GP, gold pieces.
Gil pieces.
Gold pieces. Fucking asshole. Pieces. Yeah, we're saying the same thing here, okay? I don't know why you're saying it again.
You keep abbreviating it. We're saying the same thing. It's Gil. It's just Gil. It might have been GP and Nintendo because like people like they were just getting started, but it's always been Gil.
It's always like we're gonna retroactively. We're just gonna fix it. It's all Gil.
I mean, if you went like before this podcast, like say 2 years ago, if you went back to play part 1, would you just be like, oh yeah, I got Gil? Or would you be like, oh no, it's GP?
I mean, probably not. But also, I mean, the argument that you're making is that like there's a lot of like standard set pieces that happen, but the stories aren't necessarily connected, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing is, because unless it's like explicitly noted, like 10-2 or 13-2 or whatever the fuck, like.
Well, I'm not saying they like. They're like, I want to say they're like in a shared universe. They're not all on Gaia.
No, they're not like, in a shared universe. They're not even close to in a shared universe. They're all their own standalone stories.
No, besides Tactics and
right.
What was it, 11? Because they all take place in Evilus.
Yes, and that is like a creator-specific thing where he's like, yeah, I decided that I wanted to put it all the same thing, which is good for him. But like,
I like Evilus.
The rest of it, like the amount of YouTube videos that I've seen that are like, this is the definitive thing that definitely connects Final Fantasy X to Final Fantasy VII. Did you know that the founder of Shinra was actually Shinra on the fucking ship in Final Fantasy X too? And you're like, it's just a stupid little thing. It doesn't matter. God, shut up.
It was a callback. It was a callback.
It's like, it's a called shot from Final Fantasy X-2 to be like, yeah, no, Shinra's talking about the live stream and shit. And you're like, oh, that's funny. It's like Final Fantasy VII. And then in Final Fantasy VII Remake, they're like, oh yeah, here's a picture of like the original people that started Shinra. And one of them looks like the dude from the airship. And you're like, oh, yeah. It's a callback to that thing. That's funny. But then people are like, this fucking proves it.
It validates everything I about.
God, Final Fantasy Remake 3, they're going to go to Zanarkand. They're going to do it. I know it, God damn it.
Oh my God, wouldn't that be cool?
The worst. I would hate it. And then fucking Titus shows up out of nowhere and he's like, hey, I'm fucking depressed. I hate my dad.
Hey. He just does that. No, because in X2 in the good secret ending, didn't they bring him back to life?
Yeah, for no reason. Awful. Like we went through like why he got brought back and it was nothing. There's no reason why he got brought back. It was about like the gods liking him or some stupid shit. And then like the follow-on like novel that got written had him and Yuna go to an island and he dies and she revives him again and she doesn't tell him that he's like a clone of himself or some shit. Like, again, the whole point is that like people like to seek connected meaning and like some sort of like narrative follow through in things. And whenever a thing explicitly doesn't do that to start off with, it's really hard to do it retroactively. And so if Pokemon is like, yeah, we need to go back and like establish continuity. South Park was able to successfully do it. Like they transitioned from like episodic content where it was like, oh, there's a couple of jokes that call back to, other things, but it's all episodic and none of it really matters up until like season 10 or whatever. And then it was like weekly following the same story. Like that shit was happening. And it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's neat.
And things happen and then it just kind of stays that way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think RPGs lend themselves to things like that, like sharing universes and stuff.
They do.
Because Pokemon does do that. In the original Pokemon Gold, you get to go back to Kanto, which is wild to think about, like on a Game Boy Advance game. They just had 2 big-ass areas. Go back to Kanto, you fight Red, and he has like not all the Pokemon you had, but like he had like all the starters and Pikachu and whatnot. It's wild.
Yeah. It's like, and that's cool. That's like like an interesting, cool thing to do. The thing is, like, the longer you get, the more you get into canon with things, the more that like people can just add shit to it that doesn't make any sense. And you're like, fuck. Well, now we got to deal with that. That's the problem that Star Wars has. Like, they, the original 3 movies came out, and then the prequels came out, and it was like, midi-chlorians are a thing. And you're like, okay, well, now we have to deal with the fact that midi-chlorians are a thing. So then they do like, we get like one thing into like one movie into the new trilogy, right? And it's like, oh, okay, Rey is someone, and there's some shit that's happening. Kylo Ren is this guy, and Han Solo. Yeah, like the First Order is happening, and then like you can't have another movie now that's after that without talking about it or tying to it in some way. Like you can have a movie that's like before or like way before or like in the middle, but it all has to tie into the same canon. And like they made the decision in one of the movies, like, yeah, one of the force powers that you can learn is you can heal people. And it's like, well, shit, how long have people known about that? Is this a new thing? Why didn't they do it then? Why didn't they do it back now? And it's like, all these questions don't make any fucking sense to ask if they're all disconnected, right? Whenever you say that they're all connected and you just throw some shit out there like, oh, I don't know, he just could like feel when people die across the universe. It's like, great, cool. Now in my thing, we got to ask, it's like having cell phones. You're like, wow, why didn't you call him on the cell phone when you discovered this body? It's like, ugh.
Why didn't you force project yourself across the universe like fucking like
Luke, dipshit.
Like Luke did. But beware, like if you die in projection, you die in real life.
That's right.
Like, I don't know. Like, I love Star Wars. I love when it was just goofy, but like, there's no stakes, right? Especially Rings of Power, for instance.
Yeah.
I don't like the show, first of all. But also, you're following Galadriel, you're following like Sauron, you're following Gandalf. Like, they put them in danger, but you're like, obviously they're not in danger because they live to be in Lord of the Rings. So why do I care?
Yeah.
They did that in The Hobbit too, when Gandalf was like, got caught by the fucking orcs and the evil fucking wizards and stuff.
Yeah.
And you're like, why do I care? I know he's gonna live.
Yeah. Yeah, you sort of have to suspend your disbelief for a while to be like, well, I mean, I know things are gonna work out, but yeah.
What's gonna happen?
Oh, no.
Is Frodo gonna die? Or Frodo? Is fucking Bilbo gonna die? No, he's not gonna die.
No, you see him later.
Yes, yeah. You fucking see him there at the beginning of Lord of the Rings. Obviously he's not gonna die.
You idiots.
You big stupid. But that's the thing. Then when like Rings of Power, they add like new characters and they kill them off. And you're like, well, I didn't care about them. They're nobody.
Yeah.
So, and they try to make that a big deal. Oh, no, they killed so-and-so. Fucking cares.
Like... That's like the other problem that you end up running into is like, so did you ever play... Oh, no, you wouldn't have played, and you probably wouldn't have given a shit either, about Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. So...
No. Played the first one, not the second.
So, mild spoilers for Breath of the Wild. I mean, you figure it out in the first, like, 2 hours here, but when you wake up in Breath of the Wild, it's, like, 100 years later, like, after your defeat. Like, basically, Zelda assembled an army of, like, people to fight Ganon, and it went real bad. Everyone died. And you died, basically, and then you wake up in a pod 100 years later after you're, like, healing from your death. And that's where the game starts, and it kicks ass, and I love that game. Anyway, the Hyrule Age of Calamity, it takes place during the time when Zelda is like assembling the army. It's like 100 years before, and so they're like, the forces of Ganon are rising up, and we've got to like figure out a way to do this stuff.
That's a Dynasty Warriors clone, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And the thing is, what they chose to do is they like chose to send back this stupid little robot thing from the future into the past, and that changes the past for this game. So this is an alternative timeline, and that means that it can be interesting, and they can do things like, oh, this person died here, or this person didn't die. Crazy. You know, Ganon didn't win this time, right? You can do things like that, but all of that is like, well, this is like alternative canon, and that starts to get into like the fucking Fate Stay Night shit, where it's like, oh yeah, well, this is the prime timeline, and then you have the alternative timeline up here, and this runs in parallel, but they intersect at this point at which the two universes fight and turn into one, and then that's where this game is. Like, it's confusing.
I'm not gonna get into Fate because like there's so much bullshit in that series.
Yeah.
I don't even want to watch it. I watched when the first anime that came out.
Yeah.
And I didn't finish like it, but it was
That's fine.
James told me the spoiler. Oh, the guy who's controlling fucking what's her name sword, King Arthur.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually Archer. Spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, how does that make sense?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh well, you know, he gets so powerful in the future. I guess he becomes summon or whatever they're called, and now he's just in the timeless realm until he gets summoned again. Because that's where they are, right? Like they live in like a timeless place that anyone can summon from any time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's stupid.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff with Fate that like doesn't make sense, and it's why I don't want to get into it. Like, I think on Trash Taste, Garnt was talking about an RPG series that I'm not familiar with, but like the concept behind it is that like every game is like they all take place in the same universe, and they share like characters with each other, and they're developing independent but intersecting stories, which is like, again, a really interesting thing to do when you're like, oh yeah, I've been playing this game for like 30 hours and I'm like 3/4 of the way through, and then the bad guy that I have to beat is like the character that I played 2 games ago. Fuck. And then like, what are we gonna do? Like, I like that guy. I like what he's doing. Like, how do we resolve this? Like, I'm on 2 different sides of the fence, and it's like kind of an interesting thing to do. And it's hard to do and hard to do well, because again, if you're not consistent about like, somebody is keeping like the lore and the story and what people can and cannot do and the years in line, then you run into like the situation. I mean, Overwatch was a game just by itself, just one game. And even that was like, oh, well, the person who like wrote the story is like different from the person who like wrote these descriptions, is different than the person who like was doing some of the comic stuff. And then they get the years mixed up. And now it's like, oh, Cassidy was in this gang for 2 years longer than we thought he was. And that was when Overwatch started. So when did he join? And it's like, it's just a fuck up on someone's part. And people get so bent out of shape about it, where they're like, this storyline is who I am now, okay? I need to know the timeline so I can put my OC in, okay?
I think people get mad at stuff like that because like they like get real invested into it, and then they notice the inconsistency, and they're like on Twitter, fucking hey fucking Blizzard, like someone fucked up. They put this person in the wrong timeline. He should be younger or older.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Blizzard can just be like, oh yeah, sorry, we messed up.
Yeah.
But it's just like, oh no, it's always been that way.
Yeah.
Like, but the lore contradicts that. No.
No. That's the other thing. Is like when you mess something like that up, you've got like 2 options, which is one like, oh yeah, we made a mistake. We'll have to like fix that. But then like, who decides like what the correct thing is, and like who gets overridden, and or you do it like what some places do, like you said, where they're like, nah, you're just wrong.
And that's more often than not, that's what companies do. They're like, no, that's just not.
Yep, like it's just not right.
Like in Assassin's Creed Shadows, right?
Mm-hmm.
They put out the trailer, like characters aside, Yasuke and Naoe.
Mm-hmm.
You play as both of them. Everyone was noticing. Everyone in like Japan, because they're watching it.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, everything is wrong. They're like, these instruments they're playing, those are Chinese instruments. They're like, this fruit can't, like these permissions or persimmons, they can't be harvesting on them because the sakura trees are blossoming and they are out of season. They're like, your seasons are mixed up, your fruits are mixed up, your instruments are mixed up. They wouldn't have this tower there because that's these torii gates there because they only put torii gates in front of a shrine, and this is out in the middle of a field.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, Ubisoft, what the hell? And they're like, oh, we consulted a lot of people. Well, obviously not.
Yeah.
If you fucked up this much, not to mention that like Ubisoft's just been everything promotional for that game that they've been putting out. They've just been fucking throwing darts at the board and hitting the wall because they fuck up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the worst thing about specifically things like Shadows is you get criticisms that are like, hey, you're representing my country wrong because of like these details that you're either omitting or you're not getting right. But then you also have a bunch of racists that are like, well, you can't make a black dude in Japan. And they're like, okay, well, there is at least there's one dude, and we're going to follow the one dude because we think that's interesting. Like, I think that's a good enough reason. But unfortunately, you get lumped together with a bunch of people where it's like, listen, I'm complaining about this particular thing. Like, this river shouldn't be like this, whatever. Like, you fucked up in this way. And then it's like, yeah, complaining about Assassin's Creed Shadows must be racist. Cool.
The thing about Yasuke that Ubisoft is like getting wrong, like they could have him in the game and be like, they all they had to do was being like, yeah, he wasn't famous or a samurai, but we thought it would be interesting if in the Assassin's Creed universe he was like more than just a retainer.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's like one page of lore in history written about him that Nobunaga like bought him as a retainer and just kept him around because he thought he was funny or whatever. That's like Yasuke's true history, like in a nutshell. But they're like, oh no, Yasuke. They're like in history because some fucko decided he was gonna put out an AI produced slop about Yasuke being a true samurai, citing things that didn't exist, and people are like, well, hold on, that's not right. And the guy's like, no, it's true.
No, that's right.
I'm a historian. This is obviously true. And people are like, that's just not true. And Ubisoft's like, you know what? It is true. That guy's right.
You know what? That guy's right.
and they're like, yeah, Yasuke, the legendary samurai. And people are like, but he's not though. If Ubisoft was just like, yeah, because people are like, oh, because fucking Da Vinci was like selling weapons to Ezio.
Yeah.
How's that not true? Well, like all they have to do is be like, yeah, we're making Yasuke, putting Yasuke in there as a spin on history. He wasn't just this, right? And it's not canon to real life.
Mm-hmm.
But even more than that, why didn't they just leave it as Naoe? Why do you have to play as Yasuke? Why couldn't they just have him be an NPC? Because in all the gameplay I'm seeing of them, they're like, well, you could switch between them at any time, or you can play in canon mode, which is just basically playing as Naoe.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, yeah, Yasuke feels so out of place in an Assassin's game because he doesn't sneak and he doesn't like climb on stuff. He just fucking plows through shit, and he's just like slicing people up. They're like, that's the opposite of Assassin. And people are like, why is he in the game? Why couldn't it just be Naoe? She's the assassin. She's doing all the assassin stuff. Or did you just like, oh, we wanted like a sandbox mode where you're a samurai just cutting people down?
Yeah. Like, they were like, we saw Ghost of Tsushima and we were like, what if we made that? What if we made that instead of what we're making right now? That's
what they're basically doing. They're like, well, man, that game was really good. You were a samurai. I'm like, no, you can be a ninja. It's an assassin game. Now it has like a deeper impacting story than Yasuke being like, oh, well, Oda Nobunaga he bought me and now I'm a samurai. Keep him, just let him be a samurai, but just make him an NPC. Like, having him in the game just plowing through fucking stone pillars with his sheer strength. Because that's what he does. Like, they show him sprinting through stuff and just breaking cement blocks, and he looks so out of place.
Damn.
Like, he's big and he's never, like, in Assassin's Creed, when you have your assassins walking around, like, in people, I mean, they have their hood and stuff, but they can blend in. They're, like, small, and they keep, like, the shadows. But you have Yasuke walking through crowds of people in his fucking war gear just on a normal day, like, with, weapons on his back, and they're like, well, that's, like, you stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
And, like, I mean, you get the normal people are just like, oh, this is fucking bad. They just want black guy. Like, who cares? If they're in that year, he could have been an NPC and given you, like, missions or sold weapons or, like, info or something. But, like, I don't know. I just think it's weird. I'm not going to play it. I don't like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
I haven't. It's just, I find it funny that Ubisoft's taking this hard stance against this.
Yeah, I mean, there's been, like, it's really weird to see. It's a hill to die on that doesn't have enough support under it, right? Like, to all the people that are like, oh yeah, Naughty Dog's new game, and like the main character in that, she's not hot enough, and why do they want me to play ugly women? And that criticism is one that I will die on the hill defending that, because I don't give a fuck. It doesn't matter. It's stupid that people have this criticism. If people are like talking about like, oh, there's too many brands in it, that's something I can get, but I also think that there's a reason behind that. I think it's like realistic. Like, fucking look around you. Brands are everywhere, bitch.
I just think it's funny because, like, she's wearing Nikes and she's driving a fucking Porsche.
Porsche, yeah.
I'm like, oh man, this is on the fucking nose, right?
Well, shit. Like, I've got Vans and I drive a Toyota. Like, it's not like I'm driving. Like, you can't get a brandless car. Like, yeah, obviously.
Well, I mean, I guess because, like, if she's like, when you think of like mercenaries in space, like a la Han Solo, they're not driving around in Chevrolet fucking spaceships.
That's the thing. Like, they would be.
Yeah,
they would be driving around old ass Chevys.
I get it, but like you figure like space banditos like her would have a piecemeal ship.
Yeah.
Like, with like branding not out and in front of everyone. Like, it's funny. It doesn't take me out. It's silly, and I think it's goofy.
I think that's a thing that is. I think it's a realistic thing, and it's a thing that I like. But like I'm saying, like the criticism from people that are like she's ugly, that now unfortunately muddies the water for any further critique, because if they show off like the gameplay, or they show off like part of the story or whatever.
Oh, the story got leaked apparently.
Oh, cool. Don't tell me anything. Don't tell me anything. I don't want to hear it.
No. I'm not going to tell you. I read it. I don't know. I think it's stupid. I think it's a dumb story, but if the gameplay's there. So like,
imagine now if that is the story, right? And then after the fact, people are like, oh God, like this game, I didn't really like this game. Well, now the vocal minority of people that are like shitting on this game and are doing it constantly because they don't have any fucking lives are, oh, she's ugly. I can't believe that I'm playing an Uggo. And that means that like any other criticism that you levy against it is just like washed away in that. And now people are like, if you're like, I like this game, as soon as somebody's like, I don't really like this game, the number one criticism that you always see is like, she's ugly and unfuckable. And it's like, oh, cool. You probably don't like the game because you want to fuck her. That's terrible. God, you're such a shit. And it's like, no, well, I have legitimate criticism. Come on.
To the people, like, if I didn't like the game and I didn't buy it, and they're like, oh, you just want to fuck her, right? That's why you can't play it because you can't jerk off to her. I like playing the game just fucking jerking off. who's one controller in their hand and like their hand on their other joystick, fucking waggling away. Like no one does that.
That's the thing, though, is that like the people that are mad about this are acting as if that's the thing that they do. Like, I don't understand why else you would want somebody to be hot all the time. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't be able to accept somebody that looks normal, like a regular human.
I want to play a hot person. I'm tired of waking up, looking in the mirror, and fucking looking at my face.
Yeah, you can in other games, and this one is not one of those, and it's fine. It doesn't fucking matter.
I don't think she's ugly. I just think if she
I don't either.
Like, I think if she had hair, it'd be fine. I think if she shaved her eyebrows, it'd be good.
She
has fucking caterpillars up here, and it stands out to her full like featureless face.
Man, I typically don't like whenever somebody has like specifically whenever like a feminine person has like a shaved head. Like shaved head look is not a thing that I particularly enjoy. So I'm with you on the aesthetics, but it's like if you're looking at somebody, like I don't need to find them attractive or like want to fuck them, or like I don't even need to think that they're designed well. Like, it's such a weird complaint to be like, this game that I don't know anything about, I hate that this person is in it that is not hot. And it's like,
well, you're not even be like looking at her face, because like normally in the third person you're just seeing them from the back.
Yeah,
and she looks fine from the back. I guess it's fucked up to say, but
and even if she's not, who cares?
I mean, if you're gonna like play in a game where you're like that's hyper realistic, like that game, and the person's like bouncing around wielding a sword, like you want someone that could presumably look like they could do that. Like I wouldn't want like if it was character creation, and I could make myself like gigantic and whatever, that's fine. But they have a like storied character and a story they're playing. Have someone that looks like they could actually do the things they're doing.
Yeah, and the thing is, that's a completely different criticism, and one that I think has a lot more merit than I don't think this person's hot. I don't like their face. Like, because that doesn't mean anything, and it doesn't matter.
Just like in Star Wars Outlaws, like her face was kind of like, looks like she got hit with a frying pan. That doesn't mean I wouldn't play the game. I'm not going to play it because I didn't think it looked good to begin with.
Yes.
But also it was a bad game. So I guess everyone who had that complaint was just like, you see?
See? This is what happens when you put uggos in games.
I also think that in that game, it was stupid that when she was sneaking around, that she could knock out a stormtrooper with their bare hands by hitting them on the helmet. What's the armor for?
It's a good question.
I thought that was stupid in the Obi-Wan show too. When that girl like gets found out by the stormtroopers and she's like, oh fuck, and she like knocks them out like by hitting them in the helmet and like grabbing their helmet. I'm like, why are they even wearing that? If it's not gonna do anything.
Maybe okay. Like, I'll give you a lore reason for that. I'll make one up for you.
Okay.
So they started doing the armor, right? Because we know that they had the armor from Clone Wars, yeah. So that was the first prototype armor. And then they were like, okay, so we need more that kind of looks like this, but is a little bit different. And they were like, yeah, we could totally do that. That'll be like 29 trillion credits. And they're like, yeah, that's too much. What can you do for 1 billion credits? And they were like, I can make some cheap white plastic bullshit. They'll all look the same. It won't provide any function, though. And they're like, great, we don't care. We have so many of them, it doesn't fucking matter. Put them all in the same uniform so we can tell where they are. That's it.
We won't even tell them that that's the reason. We'll only give the good people the good armor, like Captain Phasma, but she sucked anyway.
Yeah, we'll give Phasma good armor. Everybody else, shit. Just shit.
Phasma got the one prototype armor that they paid an arm and a leg for, and everyone got plastic after that.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck. But like Star Wars Outlaws, like it had a lot wrong with it, like the sneaking, like not being able to carry weapons with you. Like, did you see like the compilation of people? Because you could pick up guns in that game and just carry them with you until the ammo runs out. But as soon as they climb a ladder or crouch to go under, the weapon would just fucking plop out of your fucking hands. And people were like, "What the fuck? Why?" I just think. I don't think it's because she's ugly. Her face scared the weapon away. I just think that EA and Ubisoft need to fix their games like better. That way they can make these stylistic choices where people will complain, but if the game is good, they have nothing to complain about but the aesthetic of the main character.
Yeah, and like, but again, if they're complaining about the aesthetic of the main character, I don't give a fuck, and I can't listen to their opinion after that because it doesn't mean anything. Like, they're complaining about something that has no bearing on anything, and I'm like, why is this the thing that you want to complain about? It just doesn't make any sense to me. However, this does play into, like, we've had the discussion a couple of times about like how fucking expensive it is to develop a game nowadays and how long they are. And so
it's such a problem. People are getting pissed off that games are like more than 100 hours now. And I don't know what company was talking about it. It might have been like EA or Sony that they're like, oh, all our new games that are going to be produced, we want to make them and they're going to be sold at $100 base. I'm like, you go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
I'm already pissed off the games are 70.
That's okay. And that'll actually bleed into the first topic that we have. We're an hour in. Yeah. The thing is like $100 base for a game, right? When you adjust for like inflation and how much it costs to make a game and like all of that, the $100 is probably about right. Like Final Fantasy VI back in the day, again, was like $120 basically in today's money when it came out.
No way.
And so like you take a look at like how much it costs to make a game, how many people are involved in, like, yeah, okay, I get $100. And I'm not saying that the math doesn't work out. And I'm not saying that I won't pay it, because I will.
I know you will.
However,
you're rich, unlike me, poor.
I now have a job. Now I'm rich again. So yeah, when you think about it, like all of this makes sense, and like I'm committed. If Final Fantasy VII Part 3 comes out and it's $120, I'll pay it. I don't give a fuck. However,
I hate that. I hate that I will though.
However, developers. Or publishers specifically, I should say, because I'm sure developers don't give a shit.
They don't have say.
Just make the game shorter. Like, instead of making a 100-hour game, make it a 40-hour game. And do, like, pay attention to the small things like that, where it's like, when you climb up a ladder, your weapon drops. I guarantee you somebody in QA wrote that down. I guarantee you the team that was, like, making the game knew about that and was like, I mean, I would like to be able to, like, that's a quality of life thing that I'd like to be able to hold on to. We just don't have the time to put it in. Like, we've got all this other shit to do. So
they did fix it recently.
Right.
They put in an update.
And how long did it take to do that? Right. Like
months. They're like, you can hold the weapon now. Oh, thanks. Now that everyone's not buying the game.
Yeah. So like, and that, like, you get to the point where things like Concord happens. You get these super expensive games that like they've made huge bets on that just don't play out. And now, like, what the fuck are they supposed to do? Like, it feels like, so I don't know if you've heard this from Mr. Beast. This is a stupid example, but Mr. Beast basically is like, everything that I do is like almost entirely, yeah, that's the face. It's like all reinvested back into the videos. And so the thing is, like, he was talking about like, oh yeah, you know, I would tell my managers and stuff, like, if we made like $6,000 on this video, I'm like, great, $5,500 are going to make the next video. And they're like, no, we got to save some for the business. And he's like, no, we don't. But what that means is like, and he got lucky that like it paid off. But that means that like you have one bad video that happens, you're like all your capital's fucking gone. And that's what's happening with some of these like places like Sony is they're like, yeah, we spent $500 million to make this video game. We saw no returns. So that's like, what the fuck do we do? And like, make shorter games, pay more attention to them.
They would make more money if they didn't try to cram everything into one game. If they made like a 40 or 50 hour game, 50 max. And then they're like, all right, well, like we're making another one in a year because they're simultaneously making it, right?
Yep.
They're like, the sequel will come out next year.
Yep.
And they're just like, but you still have the base game, and there's still like post game stuff to do, and there's like mini games or whatever, like sub quests that you could finish. It'll tide you over until next year. But like, it would make me want to buy bigger games again. Like, I don't need my, I like my games to be in the 40 to 60 hour range.
Yeah.
Because then I feel like I get more bang out of my buck, right? Even if I didn't, like if I paid like, I don't know, I paid $60 for Paper Mario RPG HD for the Switch. And I knew that was kind of a short game, but I knew what I was getting into, and I was okay with that.
Yeah.
I think games shouldn't try to push past their limits. I think they should keep their games like they're like, we're trying to tell a story, even if they don't finish it in the one game, that will make them more money in the long run by bumping it into 2 or 3 instead of just putting like 100 or so hours, like completion time can be 100 if you want to like get every weapon in the game or finish everything with like S rank. But like, if you just want to play the game and the game only, it should like be 40 to like 50 hours, like tops.
So I'm looking at it. Game of the year 2024, Astrobot.
20 hours, right? Or
11.
Oh yeah.
11 hours and like 18 if you're doing 100%, right? To me, that's great. Like, that's a game that I would love to play. And I like that level of commitment, that level of like time investment is a-okay. I would do that all day. And to make me pay $60 for it, fine. Especially again, if like, cause that's the direction that we're heading. The Switch 2, we got a reveal for it. Like right after me and Fee talked about it, they just fucking stealth dropped a video. And they
didn't even say anything. Like, they're just like, this is Switch 2. It was 3 minutes.
Yep.
And then they fucked off. They didn't say anything.
Yeah, there was that. It was crazy. So like, weirdest thing that they did is like, they're like, oh yeah, we're just going to talk about the software in a few months. They just showed off the hardware. They're like, this is what it looks like. We've got like, here's the controllers, here's the updates here. They didn't say anything about pricing. They're going to say that in the software one. And I know why. It's because they need to justify the cost to you. Like, obviously, if you're like, there's a new console, there's going to be new games on it. Not going to tell you what they are. You will be paying $400 for it, though. Be like,
you know what? I was just about to say I'd be okay if it was $400.
So
Switch at release was $3.
It was $3, yeah. And that's the thing is like, the rumors are it's either going to be like there may be 2 models, like one with higher higher memory.
Like the Wii U, the fucking Wii U and the Deluxe.
Yeah. Something like that. There may be 2 models, there may just be one. But
I'm betting it would just be like 400 and 450.
Yeah, the price
50.
Yeah, the price points that like have been rumored are $399 and $499. And
I'd still buy it.
I think that's exactly where I would expect it to be. And when you compare it to the original Switch, again, things have just gotten more expensive, like even since the Switch came out. And so if they're like, yeah, we're going to be releasing an entirely new Mario Kart. It's going to have like 20, it's going to have like let's say 20 old tracks, 8 new tracks. It's going to launch with 16 characters. We're going to update with another 4 over the course of like a few months. The game is going to cost $80. I'd be like, wow, I hate that I'm going to have to get used to paying $80 for games, but I guess that's how expensive games are now. Like if you compare it to things that, were released 10 years ago, like that's just the cost of things.
I don't mind the price creep, but like, so going back to Mario Kart, 20 remade tracks and 8 new ones. Fuck that. It better be 20 new tracks and like 10. It better be 20 and 20, right? Because like just 30 by itself isn't a lot if you think about it, because people are just gonna do that in a day.
Yeah.
So, and it better have like different modes. So you're gonna have like 20 new tracks. You're gonna have like 20 of like the best of tracks from all the other ones, and then you're gonna have mirror mode. You gotta bring it back battle mode too.
Yeah,
you gotta have the Switch 2 better have fucking stellar ass online play.
Mm-hmm.
It better. And then like race online, battle online. Maybe have like a mission mode from DS, because like I don't mind just racing, doing whatever, if like especially on my Switch, but like justify $80, you got to give me stuff to do.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey, you better have good things to unlock. You better have the car parts. I'd be great for like alternate character skins. You could say, if they announced it, they were like, okay, we're also going to have DLC down the line. Don't tell us what it is. Just gauge everyone's reaction.
Yeah.
And then like be like, okay, well, new characters and tracks like every quarter.
Yeah. Yeah. Which like
I think that would justify buying a new Mario Kart, because just like 8 Deluxe on the Switch, like they added a shitload at the end of the fucking lifespan.
Yeah. Yep.
I'd say do that at the start of Switch 2, because it's a new system. Start at the beginning and then just keep going until like you want to feel like you want to stop.
Yeah, I like it's hard to because in particular Mario Kart, it's hard to figure out like how you make it engaging for a single player, because you can only get so far with like time trials. Like you basically online has to be good. Unfortunately, online it's okay for Mario Kart. Like as long as you can find a pretty steady lobby, things are okay. The amount of videos I've seen of people playing Mario Maker online though, and it just being dog shit the whole time, is so high. I'm wondering if they're going to make a Mario Maker 3, and if they do, they've got to fix that.
So if they're going to make a Mario Maker 3, here's the big fucking hook to justify $80. Have an open 3D world Mario.
Yeah.
Like in the vein of 64 maybe, or even like in the vein of Sunshine. That would, like, I've never bought a Mario Maker game because it's just not my style, but if they announce that and they're like everything from the previous with even more tools, and then like fucking 3D Mario walks into the frame and he's like, let's go, I'd be pretty stoked. I'd be like, I'm buying it, because I'm buying the Switch.
Yeah.
No matter the price of the Switch, I'm buying it. Sorry, Beans.
Yeah, Beans.
When I snap, because I've trained him to where I snap my fingers, I want him to like come and do something. So I gotta watch when I snap. Yeah, if like, man, the new games on the Switch 2, they have to feel like they're improving on the Switch for me to justify it. And also for the Switch 2, they have to fix the dog shit ass Nintendo eShop. Because like it was like go on Switch right now and tell me it's not a cesspool of bad just games, like AI slop, like just calculators and clocks for $1 because they know people are curious and will buy it. Like hentai games.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, Nintendo, they're like, we don't like blood and guts in our games and stuff, but go to the eShop, you get a bunch of bunch of potentially nude women. No,
like, I don't know who this is from Nintendo, but I like them.
It's Mario.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's senior executive Mario. It's me.
If you like the titties, we've got the eShop.
If you like the meatballs, go to the eShop. Now let me direct you to my what's it called? My producer Wario.
That's like the online stuff is so bad that like it makes sense if Mario was in charge, if Wario was in charge of anything, it would have to be the eShop, right?
Yeah. He's like, oh, I could really rub my gorgonzola to this.
How do you make it stink more?
Do it stink?
How do I download a hamburger?
I want to play Feed Simulator. I want it to smell like garlic. I hate that. So like this, I'm thinking the Switch 2 is gonna have like some kind of online kind of dealio because they turned the Joy-Cons into mice.
Mm-hmm.
You could vaguely see that in the reveal trailer, right?
Yeah.
Them zip on by. They're like, oh, I see what you're doing. They're fucking mice.
Yeah, so, I don't know what that's gonna be about, but like I don't think they're gonna do much with the eShop other than like give it a new skin, and then like it will look better than the current eShop because, well, maybe it won't. I was about to say because they like the games won't be compatible with Switch 2, but Switch 2 is backward compatible with Switch 1, so
dude, that is so great because like if Switch 2 is compatible with Switch 1 games, well, not all of them.
Yeah, they said not all of them, and it's probably going to be things that have like peripherals that you have to do, like maybe Ring Fit or some shit. I don't know.
Are games that they're gonna remaster. But I have like 50 games on the Switch 2.
Mm-hmm.
And if I buy the console and there's like nothing in the launch lineup that I want,
mm-hmm.
I could tide myself over by playing the old games.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, which is great.
That's another thing. Like, what's the launch lineup gonna look like?
Yeah.
Like, are they gonna do Mario Odyssey 2? Are we gonna see Metroid Prime 4?
I think it's probably gonna be Prime 4 and Mario Kart 9.
Yeah, Prime 4, Mario Kart 9, but there has to be 3. You can't launch a console with 2.
Oh, there's going to be another one, but it's going to be the one that no one gives a shit about. It's going to be like 1-2 Switch, where they're like, God, I guess that's there, but
1-2 Switch is such a stupid game no one wants.
I own it, but
that's
because I bought it. Like I bought Breath of the Wild, and I was like, oh, 1-2 Switch, like that could be like a fun party game, completely forgetting that I don't have any friends. And so
why are you so willy-nilly with your money? Why do you're just like, I could buy that and then never do anything with it? You just buy things.
Not most things. Like pretty good about using the things that I purchase whenever I purchase them.
Sure. I bet you turned on 1-2 Switch and you're like, this is fun, and then turned it off and never again.
Yes. Correct.
Exactly. Fuck. Like, even on Wii, like, I played Wii Sports by myself so much.
Yeah, me too. It's fun. And it's free.
It's free. It's free real estate. Switch 2 needs something like that. It needs a pack-in game.
That would be sick.
Even, like, not like Wii U, because Wii U, you had to get the deluxe version to get Wii World or whatever it was called.
Oh, yeah. Nintendo World, I think.
Nintendo World, yeah. If Switch 2 had a pack-in game that could tide people over where they didn't have to buy another game, another $80 on top of fucking $500, like, that would be great. Because then it would give people incentive to buy the game and then, like, bide their time until they get another game that they want to come out. Or if they... are they gonna do the Nintendo... game catalog thing like they did in the Switch. If you have it now on the Switch and you want to switch it over to the Switch 2, will it already have the games that are on Switch 1? Or are you going to have to wait like every month or few weeks for them to just release it again? Like, what's the incentive to getting the Nintendo membership?
That's a good question. Yeah, maybe it is going to be like a subscription type thing. I don't know.
See, that's the Nintendo membership plus. Because if you get the membership, you get discounts. You can play online. That's whatever. But like the plus is where no. Even if you just have the regular, you can play the Nintendo games and the Game Boy games that come out for free and whatever. But the Nintendo membership plus, that's where you gotta pay like an extra $20 or whatnot, and you can play 64 games.
Yeah.
But like, on the Switch 2, is it just are they gonna be on there already? If you have the memberships, are they just gonna retroactively turn there? And will it have to still be that much? Like, why am I gonna pay $500 and then $80 a brand new game and then $20 a month to play these old games when I have a new console with new games? Like, make it cheaper, dude. Nintendo, you're printing money. You don't need to be this greedy.
And they probably won't.
I know they won't.
If anything, they may make it more expensive.
If they, to justify it being more expensive, they have to put GameCube games on the fucking Switch too.
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling that what we're going to see here is more of the same that we currently have, and I have a feeling that people are going to get frustrated by it. Because what I was thinking, and it sort of dawned on me out of nowhere, when was the last time you saw a Mii?
Since the 3DS.
Yeah.
Or I guess Tomodachi Life on the Switch.
Tomodachi Life, basically. Where the fuck are the Miis? Like, are they gonna do we use those? Like, that kind of like community type thing is one of those things that like the amount of people that were like, oh yeah, this is my Mii, or like I made my Mii on this, like you shared shit like that. I'm wondering if like Switch is going to have something like, or Switch 2 is going to have something like that. Cause like everybody rallied around the Wii or the Wii for that.
On Switch, you can make a Mii. I made a Mii on the Switch and that's my profile picture. But then you don't do anything with it.
Yeah.
But on the SWOS, will you be able to, have like a Mii or a Mii Park or whatever. I'm calling it SWOS, Switch 2, but 2 in Spanish dos.
SWOS. God.
That's so good. So fucking
it's fucking terrible.
What would you say? What would you say? How would you
I would call it Switch 2 because that's the name.
Switch 2 is such a mouthful.
Is it?
Yeah. Because you can't just be like, oh yeah, I'm playing games on the Switch. Well, I mean the Switch 2. Like,
so nowadays you can't be like, oh yeah, I'm playing games on my PlayStation 5. You say PS5.
Yeah, see, but no one there's no other PlayStations out right now that are like bumping with the PS5. Like,
yeah,
you got the PS4, but like usually people just say PS4 because they know that they can't afford a 5. But like in Switch's things, like even then they call it PS and then number.
Yeah.
Like, what do you call it? The S2? The fucking what? How do you shorten it?
It's, number one, you don't need to shorten it because especially when you're saying things out loud, PS5 is 3 syllables. Switch 2 is 2, so it's already shorter. I don't need to shorten that. No, if you're typing it out, then Switch 2 not hard to do. Switch is already a word that your keyboard will autocomplete. Unlike fucking SWOS.
I'm gonna just train my phone to type SWOS, and everyone's gonna have to know what I'm talking about because fuck y'all. That's why.
Damn.
I wish the Switch 2 in its store they would take it back to the Wii, right? Mm-hmm. You could buy old games, right? Mm-hmm. And just keep them and not have to have a fucking subscription.
I would like that as well. I don't know that they're going to do that. They have the infrastructure to do it, But again, I have a feeling that that's like where Nintendo's going to draw the line. Is they're going to say, yeah, I know that you owned it and it was compatible for Switch 2 and Switch, but Switch 3 or whatever the fuck, yeah, it's not compatible with that software, so you got to buy it again.
Not like eShop games. I'm talking about like Nintendo Classic.
No, that's what I mean too. Yeah.
Yeah, see, but like you couldn't buy that on the Switch. You had to have the membership.
True.
Instead of having to pay a membership and forgetting that I have it for a few months and spending more than I want to play Paper Mario again, like, can't I just buy Paper Mario for like $20 and then just have it on my Switch and play it whenever I want? Like,
that would be nice.
give us the option, dude. Like, Nintendo, yeah, they'd be like, okay, we're putting out all these games this month. If you have the membership, it'd be like a Game Pass. If you have the membership, you can play it for free. Or you get, like, even the Game Passes do that. They're like, you could just buy them and then keep them.
You just buy them.
Yeah, you could just buy them. Nintendo, just put out your old games and you could just buy them. And then you just have them. Right? Like, you give them the option. They're like, but you need the regular Nintendo membership to play online with people, which is fine because it was $7 a month. But once you start getting into $20 a month, that's much, and you're not doing a lot. You're not doing a lot.
I will say, we have a family subscription, my wife and I, because obviously there's two of us. With our family subscription does come Nintendo Music, and
oh boy,
I'm surprised at how much I use that son of a bitch. Every time that I take a nap, man, I fucking put on a Breath of the Wild, extend 60 minutes, put that son of a bitch on. Oh, it's so good.
Oh man, not like I could open YouTube and
do
the same thing for free.
You can't. That's the thing.
Oh,
you can't, it won't be as smooth, which is the problem.
God, take off your sweater. Does your fucking shirt under it say fucking property of Nintendo? Stop sucking their dick.
No, I'm wearing a Valhalla shirt today, so.
Yeah, fucking Nintendo.
I'm just saying, the 60-minute extend is the only feature that's on Nintendo Music that like differentiates it and makes it good. And I like that one feature, and I'm not paying any additional for it, so.
Up until the Switch, they didn't do this stupid subscription to play old games. I distinctly remember on my Wii U and even on my 3DS, because I still play it, you could go into the eShop and just buy games to put on your goddamn hardware.
Yeah.
And just keep them. I didn't need a subscription. I wanted an old game, $5, bam, it's mine. Fucking, why don't we do that? Just, even DS games on the Switch 2 are presumably you could do because the screen on the Switch is touchscreen, and they have the mouse feature, so that could be a pointer. I'm just saying, like, Nintendo has to get their act together because they're like, I'm not saying they're losing customers. They will never be in the red. They'll always financially be in the black because of how goddamn good they are. Or not good they are, but because of how niche and how much people want their products and how fucking gatekeepy they are with their IPs. Nowadays. They're basically telling you have to buy us if you want to play this game, or else you don't get to play it.
And that's it. The end. Which, it's a tactic that works, and it's a tactic that Did you see that fucking Phil Spector was like, we're very happy about the Switch 2, and like Xbox games are definitely going to be coming out on the Switch 2. Did you see that? No. I mean, can you imagine playing Halo on Switch 2? Like,
I can imagine it. It's just like, I want to say, okay, Xbox, thanks. Not like fucking Xbox has a tantamount of fucking IP.
That's the thing.
Just like,
as they're like, yeah, we could drop Halo on you. We can drop, I guess we did buy, Skyrim again.
Their Skyrim was on the Switch, and it ran like fucking oatmeal up my ass.
Dude, like, I don't know. Nintendo Nintendo only fucked up really bad during the Wii U era because, like, you could tell that they financially fucked themselves then. And the lesson that they learned from that was we should stop letting people buy software and instead charge them a subscription for it. So
I hate that. They fucked up with oh yeah, we're gonna have the fucking gamepad that you have to force people to use to play the game. So instead of like watching the game, you got to play games on the gamepad while doing like this number, and that's stupid. Like when Zombie U was announced for the Wii U, I was like, fuck, that game is sick. I want that. But then they're like, oh, all your inventory and stuff's on the bottom. I'm like, I guess I could do that. But then Star Fox Zero came out and they're like, you got to play the game with the gyroscope. And you gotta do this and don't even look at the screen. Then why even have the fucking TV?
Yeah. Why is it there?
Why is it a fucking console you gotta put into your TV if you gotta look at the goddamn controller? Why not have an option to not use the gyro controls and instead use just regular controls and put it on the TV? Give us the option.
I mean,
I guess not anymore. That's the Wii U.
Yeah. That's the Switch. Like that game would have been great on the Switch.
Yeah, it would have been great on the Switch because they would have used normal ass controls and you could have it in handheld mode or on the TV.
Yeah, and if it was in handheld mode and you liked the gyroscope shit, you could.
And that's what they do on the Switch too, on the Switch regular. Like if you like the gyro controls, you could turn them on or turn them off or whatever. You could opt in to use them. Switch 2 just has to their hardware has to be there. Their games have to have accessibility options, and their games have to be worth $80 damn.
Yep.
And don't bring back the, what was it called in Wii? It wasn't the eShop. It was like the Nintendo fucking
channel
shop.
Nintendo channel.
Where you could just buy the classic games.
Yeah.
And like put them in like a Nintendo file on your Switch 2. I don't like paying a subscription. I'm going in circles now.
Yeah, I know. That I'm just mad.
I'm just angry that I know that that's what they're gonna do instead of just giving us the option.
Yeah.
And I hate going in circles like I'm screaming into the void, and Nintendo's at the end of the void smiling with my money.
Yeah, Doug Bowser's out there like, yes.
And I'm fucking falling back into the void with my wallet like just like getting vacuumed the money out.
Luigi's behind you with a vacuum, vacuuming all the money out. It's great.
You fucking do that.
Listen, we'll end this episode. I'm excited about Switch 2 whenever we get more news, which is going to be in May. Like, we'll probably end up doing a live stream for that release, for that video. So be sure to tune in for that. And yeah, we didn't talk about hardly anything that we were supposed to today, which is great.
I know we got sidetracked. We got which is everything.
That's
what the show's about.
That's the whole thing.
That's the whole show.
So listen, if you like this show and you want to listen to it live and you're not already listening, you could listen to it at twitch.tv/GoGetUsPod. We go live anywhere between 0 and 2 times a week. You can also catch the audio version of this, which has better audio on it, at any of your podcatchers under Go Get Us Podcast. That's Apple Music, that's Google Podcasts, that's Spotify, all of it. Apple Podcasts, sure. All of that. Like we're on all those platforms. If you want to catch the visual part and see Fee dancing, you can get the VOD of this. It'll come out the same day as our podcast. The podcast comes out Wednesday at 5 a.m, so you can listen to it on the way to work, 5 a.m. Pacific. And the VOD will come out Wednesday at noon Pacific, so you can watch it on YouTube while you eat your lunch. And yeah, if you don't like long form content, we have shorts that come out every week and they always kick ass. You can catch that at our TikTok if it's still around, Instagram, or YouTube shorts at youtube.com/@GoGetUsPodcast.
Hell yeah. Like, follow, subscribe, do all of that stuff to hear our best snippets, to hear the podcast, to look at our gorgeous faces, or just listen to our beautiful voices, because we have the voice of an angel.
One angel. It's two voices, one angel. It's like two girls, one cup.
Except less gross, or maybe more gross.
Maybe more.
Here's what I want you to do. I want you to get your best assassin gear on. Okay. I want you to get in your finest assassin garbs.
Okay.
I want you to go to Nintendo. I sneak in, and when you see Miyamoto, choke him out, put him to sleep. And when you put him aside and he's asleep, go up to the console and press the no membership button, and then I want you to go get him.
Go get him. I like that in your brain they've like designed the perfect software that does the thing that you want, and they have there's just a big switch on the wall that they're like do not pull this lever, things will get too good.
It's the meme of fucking press this or that, and it's the guy doing like the sweating. It's just in Miyamoto's office, right there by his desk.
Right there,
big buttons.
And he has to press a button every day, and it's the easiest button of his life. He hovers over the good one, and then he goes and then he hits no.
No,
subscription time. You fucking thought, didn't you?
Fucking. Oh, I hate that. I'm gonna beat you up, Miyamoto. No, I'm just kidding. Sponsor us.
Jesus. Sponsor. Bye.
Sponsors. Bye.